I've called it off. He's changed, Mother. He's not the same anymore. If you read his letters, you'd understand. He's not the same man. Father Dagon, written by Victoria Snaith, produced by Dreadfuls Theatre, and original soundtrack by Caesar. To hear today's soundtrack in all its dark and glorious horror, stay tuned after the episode. This is Episode 2, Albert Fletcher.
My darling Fran, before I even begin to write this letter, I'm going to apologise now for what is to come. I already know you are going to be quite furious with me for this, but I won't be coming home quite yet. The graduation ceremony went without a hitch, and I dare say you'll quite enjoy the look of me in my new naval uniform, but as I said, I won't be headed straight home. I've been offered a rather peculiar job. I cannot say much about it, except I've been assigned by my superior to help transport an apparently precious but highly secretive cargo from Portsmouth to Boston, Massachusetts in America. The trip will have me gone for approximately 6 months, which initially put me off taking the job altogether, being so keen to get back to you and all, but on hearing how much money I would make, I decided to accept. This money will go a long way in paying for our wedding on my return. So my dear Fran, will you forgive me for the impertinence of taking the job? Your loving sailor boy, Albert. Dear Fran, I have no idea why I'm writing this letter at all. I'm in the middle of the ocean, sitting aboard the ship with no way to post this letter until I reach dry land. But the journey has been so fascinating, I suppose. I just had to get it on paper for you. Let me start with this mysterious cargo. Whatever it is, it's contained inside a large wooden crate. At first, we all assumed it was some sort of livestock because of the air holes, though none of us dared to check as we'd been given strict instructions not to peer through them. At no point during the trip has this crate been allowed to go unwatched. I know the contents of the crate are precious, but it's hardly going to go missing in the cargo hold. Well, anyhow, it's my unfortunate duty to look after the crate tonight. So, my darling Fran, I shall do my best to keep this letter safe until I reach dry land, at which point I will send it to you post-haste. I hope you are keeping well and not worrying about me too much. All my love, Albert. Dear Fran, my dear, dear Fran, I feel as though I am losing my mind out here. I have so much I want to tell you, so much to share. This journey, I had no idea what would happen. The box, that big, wooden, beautiful box. It was my turn to look after it, to keep a watchful eye overnight. I sat there, thinking of you, and at first I thought I must have fallen asleep, because I heard a voice, if such a thing could be called a voice. It sang in its own language, a language unknown to my ears. It was a sweet and attractive tune that seemed to miss out the air particles and instead arrive immediately inside my head. But I wasn't dreaming, Fran. It sang songs about the deep blue ocean, the dusty white moon, about stars above us and planets far beyond our reach. It didn't stop singing, Fran. until the sun began to rise. It was beautiful, Fran. The kind of song I want to sing as a lullaby to our children. The kind of song with which I will serenade you on our wedding night. When my shift was over, I went straight to the other crew members and asked them to give me their shifts. They agreed. They've not heard the singing. They wouldn't agree to swap with me if they'd heard the singing. Every night I was left alone with that voice. But they knew. They started to get suspicious. I don't think they could hear it, but they knew. I heard them talking outside the door, murmuring about me. They said it was bound to happen, that they should have taken more precautions, that they needed to do something. And now I'm here, in the infirmary, locked away. 2 meals a day, breakfast and dinner, slid under the door. I can still hear it though. The voice, the singing. It needs me. It needs me to sit and guard. It's not the same now. It's no longer soothing like it was before. It churns my stomach, Fran, and makes my head throb. Am I mad, Fran? Am I mad? Dear Fran, I have made it. We have landed safely in America. I don't want to worry you, but I was a little unwell on the journey and did have to spend some time in the infirmary. However, I am much better and will write you a proper letter in the next few days, once I am settled. Yours always, Albert. Dear Fran, I think I may have sent a letter or two in error. I wrote some letters whilst in a feverish state, and once I landed in Boston, I think a shipmate may have posted them. It's not his fault. They were indeed enveloped and ready to go, but they were not really meant to be sent. Please just discount them. Lovingly yours, Albert. Dear Fran, I am sorry I tried to deceive you, and yes, I understand you are worried about me. The way I see it, there's no point in lying further. The box and voice is all true. Me being mad, however, is not, and I can prove it. On arriving in Boston, I have met many, many wonderful sailor chaps in the dockside bars who have told me similar stories. Men who have heard a strange and striking voice, singing at night. I'm not mad, Fran, and neither are these men. Something is going on. This voice, it's telling me something. It's calling me, Fran. I met a man yesterday. He was singing to himself as he worked. The tune, it was the same as the voice in the box. The man, he didn't know much about the song. He told me he heard it whilst working in a small town, about 90 minutes from Boston. I'm going, Fran. It's the only way to make it stop. I'll write again once I reach the town, Innsmouth.
You have been listening to Father Dagon, Episode 2, Albert Fletcher. Francis Holloway was performed by Victoria Snaith. Albert Fletcher was performed by Rob Wildash. The soundtrack for Father Dagon was created by Caesar. At the end of every podcast, you can hear the soundtrack from the day's episode in full, which is perfect for trying to drown out the voices inside your head. Unless those voices are telling you to visit our website, in which case visit dreadfallstheatre.com or visit our Patreon page, patreon.com/dreadfallstheatre. This week's Monster of the Week is
Clinton Trap. Clinton Trap
a Scandinavian waterhorse that lives in rivers and freshwater lakes.
Clinton Trap.
Often conceals itself by appearing like a floating log or overturned boat. Those who are tempted to approach
Clinton Trap.
the seemingly useful piece of wood are pulled under the water and eaten. Like the podcast? Tweet at Victoria_DFT or at King Caesar.